Another series opener and another frustrating Cardinals loss is manager Ali Marmol on the hot seat after this sluggish and disappointing start to the year. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffern, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Follow me on Twitter at JD Sports Radio and the podcast at LO_Cardinals. I want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and comment. That way you can interact with us. Hit the notification button so you know when new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans of baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. 0-8. 0-8 when starting an individual series. That's where we are. That's where we are, people. The only other time in franchise history that the Cardinals have lost the first game of their first 8 series of the season was back in 1988. Any guesses how that year went? Not good. Not good. 76-86 is what they finished that year. Needless to say, if that's how this year ends, massive, massive disappointment. I explained yesterday how the Cardinals are in this horrible cycle of starting a series with an ugly loss. Then they get a close game, but disappointing loss. And then they get a breakout game at the end where they look great. And after Jordan Montgomery escaped that first inning without allowing a run, I was hopeful. Last night, I was hopeful because it seemed like certain doom, right? That he was going to be in trouble. And I thought that maybe that the first inning was going to be the, quote, one bad inning that has plagued this team. And they survived it. They got out of the first inning without giving up a run. And for 6 innings, it sure seemed that way, that maybe that was going to be the goofy inning and that they got away with one. I warned you yesterday that last night was probably going to be a pitcher's duel. So seeing Alex Cobb breeze his way through this Cardinals offense, it didn't really shock me. He's had good numbers on the year. His record just didn't reflect it. The Cardinals suck in the first game of a series normally. That's just the honest truth. They normally do. And he's a right-hander. And the Cardinals don't hit righties as well as they hit lefties. So all of that was going against them. And on the other side, the Giants, they don't hit lefties all that well. So after the exhausting first inning where Monty had to throw 31 pitches, mostly due to that wild at bat against Thairo Estrada, where I think it was 14 pitches he threw before striking him out. Crazy at bat. He looked pretty darn good after that, didn't he? You have to be happy about that. And the way this season has gone, though, you just had a feeling eventually in a tight game like that, something goofy would happen that would cost this team a win and basically start the avalanche effect for another loss. But what happened was not what I would have bet on. A fielding error by Tommy Edman. That's not what I would have put my money on as the reason why the team would spiral out of control in this game and lose it. One of the best infielders in all of baseball over the last few seasons. Makes the error in the 7th and puts the leadoff hitter on. It also ended Montgomery's night at 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. A beautiful performance that is ultimately wasted. By the way, Tommy Edman, 3rd error of the year already. He only had 3 errors last season. He's got 3 already this year. Keep an eye on that. Drew VerHagen gets the call in for Monty there in the inning. Promptly gives up a double on a 3-2 fastball right down the middle. Once again, pitch placement awful. Awful right there. They then intentionally walk Jock Peterson to load them up with nobody out to set up the double play. Makes sense. He strikes out Estrada in the next at-bat, so now a double play gets you out of it. And there's a little bit of hope there, like, oh my gosh, could they get away with this? But no. Sack fly to deep right makes it 1-0. But you can live with that. If you can get out of a bases loaded, nobody out situation and give up just 1 run, you're okay. You're feeling good about that. In fact, momentum goes into your favor in a situation like that. just have to get that last out. But instead, J.D. Davis clubs a 2-0 cutter that caught too much of the plate, bashes it over the wall in left field, makes it 4-0. That's your ball game. 1-0, you feel like you could have scratched something across it at some point, right? But 4-0 might as well have been 100-0, the way this team has been going, especially the way Cobb was rolling in this one. Cardinals hitters were just beating that sinker into the ground. He got 17 of the 27 outs on the ground last night. Threw the Giants' first complete game shutout against the Cardinals since 1997. It was also the second complete game shutout of his entire 12-year career. That's the way things are going for the Cardinals. That's the season so far. This Cardinals team seemingly finds a different way to lose these ball games. Giving up 4 runs to the San Francisco Giants shouldn't be an unwinnable game. 4 runs should be nothing for this offense, at least on paper. But the offense as a whole stunk again last night. They just did. 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Here we go again, right back where we started. They only had 6 hits altogether last night. A pitiful performance. Montgomery deserved better. We know that. Great performance by him. VerHagen has now given up 4 runs in his last inning and 2/3. His ERA has jumped from 2.08 to 5.23. So just when you think you can rely on him as somebody to get some outs for you, he falls apart. Now he's an issue. This team is a mess. It's got no confidence and is seemingly spinning their wheels in the mud right now. And that's what's going on in the month of April. As soon as they start to get a little bit of traction, they fall right back into it. And it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch. And it's been so bad that people are wondering, has Ali Marmol lost his clubhouse? Is he on the hot seat? Should he be fired for what's going on right now? Is it his fault? We're going to dive into that next here on Locked On Cardinals. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process, especially because we're always growing and changing. Every single day, something new pops up. You learn from it. You move on in life. You're not the same person you were a year or two ago than you are right now. Like, I'm sure things have happened in your life that have changed your outlook on things. You live, you learn, you make those mistakes, you grow inside and out. Therapy is something that is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding. Because sometimes we don't know what we want or why we react the way that we do until we talk through things. It's always nice to have someone there just to listen. They don't necessarily have to have a back and forth conversation. Just somebody on the other line to say, hey, I'm here. Go ahead. Let's hear what you got. And that's where BetterHelp can benefit you. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. It doesn't always have to be a bad place. It can be just life in general, things you want to talk about. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnMLB. The Cardinals are in San Francisco again tonight. It'll be Jake Woodford hitting the mound, looking for his second win of the season. And you can catch every pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. All my everydayers out there, barring any catastrophic news tomorrow, I kind of want to check in. I've been saying this for about a week now, but I want to check in on the Cardinals minor league affiliates and get our first farm report of the regular season done. Because, Memphis has been playing really well, reeled off 12 wins in a row recently. Can any of them come up to spark this big league club who have been lifeless and dull since after the opening Blue Jays series? That's something I want to get done. So hopefully we'll do that tomorrow. You can't sugarcoat what's going on any further with this team, right? This team is playing bad baseball. It's something different every night, but yet it's the same stuff over and over. They just choose a different thing to make them lose. No clutch hitting, bad starting pitching, shoddy defense. The bullpen implodes out of nowhere. I've seen online people who have what they're calling the Cardinals losing wheels. I've seen a few of them, and they have like, how like a wheel and then like little pies and something's written on each one, kind of like Wheel of Fortune. And they have different things written on them of ways the Cardinals continue to lose games. And, it's funny, but it's sadly true as well. You never know what they're going to do and what they're going to land on that's going to blow the next ball game. And with all these issues, I've been asked numerous times, do I think manager Ali Marmol is in danger of losing his job? And I get why people are asking that question, but my personal opinion is absolutely not. Absolutely not. When it comes to Ali, he hasn't been on the job all that long. He's the youngest manager in baseball. And it's been brought up that perhaps he's lost the faith of the guys in the clubhouse, specifically after the Tyler O'Neill situation. I'm not in the clubhouse, guys. I'm not a beat reporter. I don't spend time with these guys every single day, so it's hard for me to give anything but opinion on this sort of matter. I say absolutely not, but one of the people who is around this team a lot, Katie Wu from The Athletic, who travels with the team and does talk to them day in and day out, she recently said in her live chat when someone brought this up, and she said this: the Marmol-O'Neill situation was weird, especially given how early in the season it was. But let's remember, this isn't the first time Ali has publicly called out a player. Remember when he removed Harrison Bader from a game last season and addressed Bader's lack of hustle to the media? This was essentially the same thing in theory. While Bader took responsibility, O'Neill clearly took exception to the call-out that might have impacted O'Neill's relationship with Ali. But the clubhouse more or less remained neutral. Ali and Tyler are both professionals. O'Neill has seen consistent playing time since the incident, and all parties, including the organization, have moved on. And while I know you didn't ask or say this specifically, let me just put a disclaimer out there. Marmol has not lost the clubhouse, not even close. That's Katie Wu from The Athletic, who is around this team all the time. And nobody wants to hear the excuse that it's still early anymore. I understand that. But when I tell you that the team has only played 14% of the season, doesn't that put things in perspective a little bit? Like 14%. So say you're loading up something on your computer and you're at 14%. Are you close to being done? Or do you consider that pretty early on in the downloading phase of whatever that is you're doing? Do you think the St. Louis Cardinals, one of the more conservative franchises in all of baseball, are panicking and ready to fire their second-year manager who just took them to the playoffs in his rookie year? The turnover at manager for this franchise, it's been kind of busy recently. It went from Matheny to Schilt to Marmol. That's 3 different managers since 2018. That is not normal for a team that wins as consistently as this franchise does. And I'm sorry, but I don't put everything that's going on with this team right now on Ali. I'm putting more of this funk on the players. The guys who actually hit and throw the ball and field the ball, those guys. The manager can only put the team in the best position to win. That's his job. He can't go out there and do it for him. If you have issues with the lineup card or bullpen use, then sure, you can roast Ali for those things all you want. That's a managerial thing. Okay? And he's going to make mistakes. Every manager does. I mean, how many times did you guys get upset about moves that Tony La Russa would make? But he's one of the greatest managers in all of baseball, yet he made mistakes, and he upset Cardinal Nation a lot. People were annoyed by him on a lot of occasions, but yet he was winning, so it was okay. Now you want Ali fired because right now the team's not winning. If they were winning and he was doing the things he's doing, you would be fine. Winning cures a lot of things, but it's up to the players to get the job done. And right now they're just not getting it done. They're not playing well. The outfield is not produced the way that they were expected to. You're not getting what you thought you were going to get from Dylan Carlson, Tyler O'Neill. Lars Nootbaar's had his moments, but he was hurt early on. Jordan Walker's been a breath of fresh air. Alec Burleson, tough luck hitting. I see a lot of people upset that he's in the lineup all the time. I mean, nobody's doing all that much out of the outfield as far as production. Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, your 2 best hitters. Your 2 MVP caliber players are not producing the way they were expected to. They're just not. Where's the power? Where's the home runs between Goldie and Arenado? They're nowhere to be found. If Gorman's not hitting the ball over the wall, who is? Everyone used to blame Jeff Albert. Remember him? The hitting coach who just got torched by Cardinal Nation for years until he finally got ran out of town after last season. The team as a whole had a good year hitting-wise. Like it was a good offense, but it wasn't good enough for Cardinals Nation. Jeff Albert said, fine, I'll get out of here. I'm fine. The problems are still remaining. Jeff Albert's not here to blame anymore. Miles Michaelis and Steven Matz have been major disappointments in the rotation. Jordan Hicks has looked terrible up until his last couple of appearances where hopefully, I saw last night, they were sliding him over to the far side of the rubber, and hopefully that's giving his sinker and his fastball tailing towards the plate and helping him out with his control. Drew VerHagen has come back to earth a bit after a strong start to the year. Andre Palante had a rough go. He's now in Memphis. I personally just think the blame needs to be on the players more. It's just too easy to go ahead and blame the coaches and the manager for players not performing. Like, at this level, Ali shouldn't have to, rah these dudes up to feel good about themselves, to go out and do their job. Like, these guys are professionals. They're some of the best players in the league. They're just not getting it done. So it's on them to turn this around. I think it's too easy to go ahead and blame Ali for everything that's going on. There's blame to go around on everybody. It doesn't just reside on one person. What shakeup needs to happen to get this team going in the right direction? I don't know. Maybe Adam Wainwright coming back will help that out. I don't know. Eventually, something's got to click, right? These guys are too good. Coming up, one of the big names that was rumored to be traded this offseason just signed an extension with his team today. I'll tell you who it is next on Locked On Cardinals. Our new sponsor, So Rare, is a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace transforming fans into owners with officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 MLB teams. Unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, So Rare managers truly own their fantasy experience by collecting, buying, selling, and competing with player cards against global opponents to win epic rewards. And win or lose, you still own your cards, and there's no cost to play. Plus, the more you win, the more you advance, collecting increasingly powerful cards and accessing next-level competitions and rewards. I just made a very smart move on my So Rare collection this week. I took Drew VerHagen out of my starting lineup and put somebody else in. It was McGill from the Mets. I landed his card after last week and put him in instead, and VerHagen had a bad game last night, so that didn't cost me. You get to the top of the leaderboards with your team. You can win a variety of rewards, which includes So Rare scarcity cards, game tickets, merchandise, signed jerseys, and VIP experiences like meeting MLB stars. So head to SoRare.com/lockedon. That's spelled SORARE.com to draft your team of free players, set your lineup, and start competing today to win those epic rewards. Again, that's SoRare.com/lockedon to start playing today. The Cardinals are at Oracle Park again in San Francisco tonight. Former Cardinal Jonathan Brebbia going to be getting the start for the Giants. Can the offense come to life against their former teammate? You can catch every pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. So the Pittsburgh Pirates have been one of the surprise stories of the league this year. They've won 7 in a row coming into today, have a 1-game lead on Milwaukee in the NL Central, and have the second best record in baseball at 16-7. And now they've reportedly come to an agreement with their star outfielder, Bryan Reynolds, on the biggest contract in team history. An 8-year, $106.75 million extension with a club option for 2031. Earlier this year, when we did our crossover with Ethan Smith at Locked On Pirates, I spoke on how I hope that this extension would get done between Reynolds and the Pirates, because I think it's good for the league that he remains in Pittsburgh. Not such great news for the Cardinals, obviously, because now you're going to have to see him for another 8 years. But the fact that they didn't have to move him to another big market team, I think is great for the league. Like, I hate seeing those larger markets just take whatever they want from the smaller teams. Just like in the movie Moneyball. Like, everybody just picked apart their squad and got to take the good stuff. And The A's were stuck with all the bad stuff. I'm glad that didn't happen in this situation. One of the great things about the NFL is the parity that the league has each year, where one year you've got a team drafting in the top 5, and then the next season, they're competing for a playoff spot. Just this year was the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had a horrible season the year before, and then this year, boom, there they are. And with small market teams like the Rays and the Pirates doing what they're doing this season, I think it's great for the sport and great for the league that those teams are thriving. Will the Pirates' early success continue all year? It's another question. We'll see. It remains to be seen. They're going to get tested here soon. They got the Dodgers right now. They're in a series with them. And then they've got the Rays and the Blue Jays. So Dodgers, Rays, Blue Jays in 3 of their next 4 series. So we're about to find out how real they really are. But they play good baseball. You saw it against the Cardinals, and that's the way they've been playing against everybody so far this year. They do the small things. They've had good pitching, good bullpen, and they do the small things right. As for the Cardinals, Adam Wainwright is set to make his second rehab start tonight. He'll be with Springfield again. I believe they're facing Wichita, and he's set to throw 75 pitches. If things go well, it would line him up to return to the starting rotation either on Sunday in LA or on May the 2nd when the Cardinals return home from the West Coast. I would prefer they wait till he gets home. I think that'd be a good idea. I don't think you want to just push him in there on Sunday against LA, who, even though they're having not the greatest season so far, it's still the Dodgers. It's still pretty darn good. So I think starting him at home for his first game would be a wise idea, but I don't make those decisions. But after the complete game shutout by Cobb last night, it's going to be a bullpen game tonight for the Giants as far as how things look for tonight's game. The Cardinals will face former teammate John Brebbia, who will be making his first start of the year. He hasn't thrown over 28 pitches in an outing yet this season, so I assume he's going to last just 1 inning. Unless the Cardinals go down quickly, which I hope they don't. Let's make these guys throw some pitches. Last night, the way that they attacked Cobb was they were trying to jump on him early in counts. They weren't going to let him get ahead of them. And the problem was they weren't getting any hits out of it. They were just grounding out, which kept his pitch count low, which allowed him to throw that complete game last night. Jake Woodford will toe the rubber for the Redbirds tonight. He's gone 5 innings in his last 2 outings through 5 1/3 shutout innings against Pittsburgh on the 14th. And then his last time out, he got the win in that 14-5 drubbing against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Wasn't a great game by him by any means. Gave up 2 more home runs. He's got to keep that ball down tonight. We know the Giants like to use the long ball. They've hit a lot of home runs this season, with the top home run hitting teams in the league. You saw what damage they did last night. J.D. Davis. They didn't do anything hardly until J.D. Davis hits a 3-run shot to make it 4-0. So Jake has already served up 6 home runs this year, which is tied with Miles Michaelis for tops on the team and is the 3rd highest amount of home runs given up by a starting pitcher in the National League this season. He's got to keep it down tonight. Just don't give up the big fly. Keep it in the ballpark. You'll have a better chance to win against this Giants team. First pitch, 8:45 St. Louis time. Once again, thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Be sure to catch every pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast tonight and throughout the series in San Francisco with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Cardinals. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube. You're the best fans in baseball for a reason, and I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.